One final look at my Living Lightning, not Guardian anymore, is what we're here for today. I changed a couple of pieces. I basically am in the very endgame setup, aside from some stuff that only is accessible to trade. And yeah, that's what we're talking about today. In the background you can see me running my first and only tier 17 map I have run on this character. The map had consecrated ground and constantly healing Maven on it, so the damage seems a bit worse than it actually is, though we did not really manage to fix the big DPS issue with the amount of investment we have in the character. Every proper minion build and every other proper Spectre build would probably have about 5 to 10 times the DPS I have with pretty much the same gear, aside from obviously a better weapon and probably a different helmet. But generally, Living Lightning was a lot of fun, and while it has its issues, I want here to highlight the character and what I have done to make the build somewhat playable in its current state. In the future, I will make a video where I talk especially about what makes the skill good, what makes the skill bad, and how GG could attempt to fix it. Before talking about gear changes or alike, I want to talk about the Ascendancy and the Bloodline, because these massively changed how I've built the character. In the end, Guardian does not provide enough bonuses for the character to really be a reasonable choice. I switched over to Inquisitor, which has a couple of pretty nice notes. First of all, Augury of Penitence gives 16% increased elemental damage taken on nearby enemies, and nearby enemies deal 8% less elemental damage, so it's an offensive and a pretty good defensive boost. Then we have Sanctuary, which makes Consecrate Ground apply 15% increased damage taken also. Also, you have Consecrated Ground around you while stationary, so basically you always have Consecrated Ground. Especially when you put Pious Path in the mix, which makes it so that Consecrated Ground you create causes life regeneration to also recover Energy Shield, and also gives the lingering effect for Consecrated Ground, which means that when you leave an area of Consecrated Ground, you will keep the buff for 4 more seconds. This, the Flash Crafter, and switching some pieces to more Energy Shield focused gear made it possible to go very defensive oriented with Energy Shield on the character. So right now I'm having 4k life and 2k Energy Shield. You could at this point invest a bit more into regeneration than what I have done, though I only played on this variation for, well, a couple of maps, as I in the end decided to switch out of it and start a new character, because for me this journey, well, is finished, but there is a bit more to gain with this character, especially in trade, but it's just not good enough for me. The aura we are taking out is Hatred. Just did not give enough of a bonus, especially with all the flat added lightning damage we had to the build. For the Ascendancy, I switched from Farul to Katarina. While the attack speed was nice, with a 12 passive cluster jewel, we have so much attack speed that the Farul Bloodline just didn't do a lot. Also, the 80% increased damage after using a Warcry just weren't strong enough anymore with all the bonuses we had. Katarina on the other side gives us increased effective offerings, 50%, which is quite a bit, and also offering skill affected damageable targets when offering duration expires. The wording here is very important because it says when offering duration expires. This means that when we are recasting the offering, we are increasing or extending the duration, so recasting it does not kill anything. So we can just, with our autocast due to the trigger weapon, just keep the offering on all the time and just not kill our minions, which would be very annoying. Also, I did some pathing and point changes on the tree, though you can check out those in the linked path of building. So let's take a quick look at the gear. For the belt, the only change we did was, well, I changed my 99 effect to 100% Abyss Jewel because I found that recently, and also I did found my Swollen, so we switched to Swollen, which also did allow for the change in the tree due to us not needing as much block anymore. For the gloves and the boots, the only thing I changed pretty much was the base, so that we would have a base that has more energy shield. The rest of the gear pretty much is the exact same as before. And while there still are a lot of upgrade possibilities, as I said, I wanted to bench the character for now because I think what I have done with it in the private league, I really can't get much further here. For trade, what's very important, I would definitely use at least a +2 flash crafter, which would give about 20% to 25% more damage. Then also you should use a rune graph that gives +1 level to all support gems, which is another 10 to 12% more damage. So just from these two fairly cheap changes, you would gain about 40% more damage, which is pretty huge. With that said, I am concluding this build here for now. So if you have any ideas about the character, if you have anything you think UGG should change about the game, or well, somehow put better support in the game for it, feel free to let me know what your idea would be. And I say thanks for watching and see you with the next one.